Hey guys, welcome back. I'm doing this in post, like I said before. I wanted to record this all on the flip video camera, but it died and I don't have any replacement batteries, so you're getting webcam footage and better quality audio than I would have had on the flip video camera otherwise. So I apologize for that. Hopefully, if I can scrounge up enough scratch, I can get an actual camera with good quality microphone, like a shotgun mic or something. But, you know, that's for another time. For now, just enjoy the video, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. So, in terms of greatest racing games of all time, this one definitely has to be in the discussion. It's Need for Speed Most Wanted. One of my favorite freaking games of all time. I think I've bought this game several times over as well. My dad actually used to play this game with me a lot. This is one of the few Need for Speed racing games with a story that I've ever actually completed. The only other game that I've played through all the way almost to completion, I don't think I actually finished it, was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. No, excuse me, High Stakes. Need for Speed High Stakes was the one that I had played all the way through. It was a original PlayStation title. But in terms of overall fun factor and customizability, I think Most Wanted is probably the best of this era. I haven't played anything after Most Wanted for the most part. I didn't do Carbon or anything. I did play the 2012 reboot of Most Wanted on the Vita, and that game's pretty fun, but it's nothing like this one, and it's not nearly as fun as this 2006 version is still currently to this day. So now we get to the first of the sports titles that I own. So this is NBA Ballers, one of my favorite sports games. It's got a campaign mode called Rags to Riches, where you play as just some dude off the street and then you play against like celebrities in their homes. It's a one-on-one NBA street style game where you do you do dribbling tricks, you fake people out, and then you have to score. I think it's first to 11. Each point is worth 1, each 3-pointer is worth 2, that sort of thing. But this game was super interesting. Nothing like it has ever come out since. I think there might have been a sequel to this game, but outside of this realm of like the series, nothing else has ever come out that's even remotely similar to this game. I would say it's very close to NBA Jam, but more realistic. It's just 1 versus 1 instead of 2v2 like NBA Jam was. So this game was also out of order, but it's also one of my favorite simulation games. Gran Turismo is a really great simulation series, but I don't think anything did nearly as good as Need for Speed Pro Street. Need for Speed Pro Street was a great entry into the simulation racing genre. It took you out of the streets of fictional cities and put you on actual racing track. Well, not real racing tracks, but fictional racing tracks. Instead of just going out and being a menace to the public on the streets, you actually went to a racetrack and raced against other people. It was a simulation game, so slid handling was more of an issue. You had to turn and corner correctly. There was a lot more in this game that you had to do than its arcadey style counterparts of the regular Need for Speed series. Need for Speed Pro Street, definitely one of the better simulation games that I've ever played, honestly. And now we're back to a game that I never played as a kid, nor was I really interested in, but it came in the order set that I have. So Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando. Part of the collection, never actually played it before, was never really interested, but it is I believe it's an Insomniac game. Or no, I think Insomniac took over Ratchet and Clank this year, or for this newest one coming out for the PS5. A lot of people love this game. Oh, it is an Insomniac. There we go. It was just on the front cover instead of the back. I never actually played this game, nor was I ever really interested. I think I'd grown out of character platformer shooters by the time these games had come out. Jack included, Ratchet and Clank, that sort of thing. So I don't know much about it. I may want to go ahead and dive into the series at some point. I would just have to get the first couple of games in the series. For the Ratchet and Clank series at least. I do have the Jak and Daxter series, so I may want to try that out sometime soon. And then here we go. My favorite genre of survival horror games. My favorite series of all time. We have Resident Evil Code Veronica X. in this case. So this is the PlayStation 2 version. I'd heard that the other versions of this game are superior, but you know, there are several things about this game that I truly enjoy. First of all, it had the sweeping camera that not a lot of Resident Evil games had up until this point. It also has Claire as the main character again. Claire is my favorite Resident Evil character of all time, aside from Leon, but of course, you know, Leon's everyone's favorite character. Jill is actually starting to get up there for me too, but Claire is bae. I love her. She's always going to be top tier waifu for me in the Resident Evil series. So it's super cool every time she gets her own game, like Resident Evil Revelations 2 I was a huge fan of, Code Veronica. I have the Claire disc for Resident Evil 2 stashed away somewhere. I'll have to show that on my PlayStation games video, which is going to be a lot shorter. I don't have a lot of those anymore, and I don't really find any of them that I want. So we'll have to go back and talk about those pretty soon. The next on my list is another Resident Evil game, but one of the best co-op Resident Evil games of all time, Resident Evil Outbreak. So this is a co-op, I think four person. So a co-op 4-person Resident Evil game where you could play with 4 people over a network. This is one of the first Resident Evil games you could play online, and it was amazing. They've never ever since File 2 made a game quite like this. It was super cool. So if I could get any Resident Evil game either remastered or remade or a sequel, I would want the Outbreak series to get another entry, because it was puzzle based like the original Resident Evils were. It also had the cool sweeping cameras. There was a lot of great characters. They all had special abilities that they could utilize to help their teammates out, and then there was like a large-scale world that you could travel through, and it kept track of everyone's progress. You could pick up an item in one area, take it to a specific puzzle. Another person could pick up another item from a different area, take it to that same puzzle, complete it, and then everyone can move on to the next section, that sort of thing. Nothing like that has ever happened since Resident Evil Outbreak File 2. Unless, you know, there's a game out there that I'm unaware of in the Resident Evil series that does do that again. I know for a fact that this is just one of the ones that does. So if there's another one like that, let me know. I also would, like I said, love to have either a remake, remaster, or a sequel to the Outbreak series. Next up on our list, we have a relatively obscure game, but that's one of my favorite things. I love obscure games. This one is Rivet King. So this is basically a obstacle golf style game where you basically hit a hammer on a catapult that a frog is on, and you have to try and get as many points as possible and as little turns as possible and still hit your end goal. So each one of the courses had like little nuances, had little like strings, combo strings, things like that, that if you were able to hit it just right, you could get an insanely high score with, like I said, the least amount of tries possible. I didn't get to play a whole lot of this, but from what I did play, it was super fun. I really enjoyed it. I would like to play it again sometime soon. There's really nothing stopping me from playing this game. I just haven't really gotten around to it since the first and last time that I played it, which I think was like a year ago. But Rivet King, super obscure, super fun. Alright, and now we're on to one of my favorite shooters, third-person shooters on the PlayStation 2. This is Socom, US Navy SEALs. It was super interesting for a PlayStation 2 game because this was one of those games that you could do in any order, basically. You could skip certain objectives, you could do objectives in different orders, you could do them from different angles, you could leave people alive, you could kill people. It was just a very cool take on a third-person shooter stealth action type game. I think the last time we got any SOCOM game was on the PS4, but I would have to do a little bit of research on that. I'm not 100% sure. I do know that they have kept this series up until recent times. I just don't know exactly when the last game in the series was created or made or anything like that. This was also a game that you could play online. I believe it was a 16-player game. So 8 versus 8 on either side. I think I never got the chance to play any of these games online, which is super unfortunate. I'm pretty sure there's a way I probably could even now, but as it stands, I don't want to try to put the effort into doing that unless I know I can get like a group of people together to do it with me. So maybe someday, but as of right now, definitely not. So next up we have Sonic Heroes. I have never ever played a Sonic game, ever. I do remember reading about this in a magazine. I think it might have been a Game Informer magazine or a Nintendo, I don't know what it was, some sort of magazine, but I do remember reading about this, and I read it a lot, and it became one of the ones that I would really love to play at some point. I still haven't popped it in. I still haven't played anything about this game just yet, but I do know that you could play as 4 different teams. It was Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Chaotic, and Team Rose. It was an interesting idea, just put everyone on teams, utilize each of their special abilities, and try to progress to the end, save the world, that sort of thing. And I believe this game, oh, there it is, yep, Sonic's PlayStation 2 debut. So this was actually the first Sonic game on a PlayStation 2, excuse me. It might have actually been on the PlayStation as well, but I don't 100% know if that's the case, since Sega was still a thing and still making consoles back then. So this might have been the first ever PlayStation Sonic game, for all I know. I'd have to research that as well to figure out for sure. But Sonic Heroes, in my collection, one of the games that I definitely would like to try. Alright, and then we're back on the topic of one of my favorite games of all time. So I have here Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2. Definitely one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it might have been the first game I'd ever completed, honestly. It's the first game I ever remember completing on the PlayStation 2. I think the first game I ever actually beat might have been the first Metal Gear, but this is a close second. The story is great, the graphics are amazing, the puzzles are fun. Like, there's not a lot about this game that I could, you know, oh man, the voice acting is fucking phenomenal. It's so good. If you'd never heard of the voice acting in Legacy of Kain series, you need to. Soul Reaver 2 might have the best voice acting in the series. I haven't played Legacy of Kain Defiance yet. I will soon. Overall, as a whole, this game's story and voice acting is incredible. It actually is the game that made me want to become a voice actor in the first place, and I still haven't put my foot into that door just yet, but I'm working on it. Hopefully soon we'll see something voice acting out of me, and we can thank this game for it. This is one of the first games that I remember having on the PS2. It's also a super, I feel, obscure game. It's called Seek and Destroy. It was a tank battle game, like fantasy tank battle game. It had a lot of really cool ideas. Like, you could put a hovercraft on it, you could put jet wings on it and fly around, different types of weapons and ammo types, different abilities, different, like, just so many cool things. It was very customizable. You could actually take your tank into the ocean and, you know, fight ships. It was really weird and it was really cool, and it played in a fantasy style world where the tanks themselves might have been people. I'm actually not 100% sure. Even to this day, when I put it back in, it still plays as if the tanks are like the autonomous people in the game. So I'm actually not 100% sure about that, but this game was really fun. I do remember beating this one as well. I just haven't done it in such a long time that I don't remember basically anything about it. Next up we have SpiderMan, the movie tie-in game for the PlayStation 2. I remember playing this when I was a kid. I never owned it. I've never owned it before this year. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I have never played it. Well, that's a lie. I have played it. I just said that, but I never owned it. That's what I meant. It was very cool from what I remember. I only got to play like the first couple of missions where you go and find Uncle Ben's killer. Overall, I would like to play this game again. It even has official movie merchandise on the disc. So, you know, this was meant to be in tandem with the 2002 Spider-Man movie release. When did this game come out? Yeah, 2002. So it was meant to come out at the same time as the movie. So that's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. I'm very excited to own it, and I'm very excited to play through it for the first time all the way through. Next up, we have the sequel, Spider-Man 2. This is also official movie merchandise, apparently. This one I definitely never played. I'm excited to at some point. Just up until this point, I never owned a Spider-Man game. Like I said, I haven't played it would like to. Activision was good back in this era. You know, Spider-Man 2, probably more of the same as the first one, I don't know. So now we have another game that I got in my bundle, Tak and the Power of Juju. I remember seeing these commercials on Nickelodeon all the time when I was a kid, but I was never really interested, and I haven't heard much or seen much about this game. I'm not super interested in it at all. I just know it's like a platformer. I might give it a try at some point just to see if I like it or not, but as of right now, it's kind of not in the cards. I just kind of have it to fill up space on my shelf so that way it looks good with a T game in there somewhere, a T-titled game. But Tak and the Power of Juju, maybe I'll play it, maybe I won't, who knows. And then the last of my cased games, I have Tony Hawk's Project 8. This was the only Tony Hawk game that I ever really put any time into. I didn't play any of the original Pro Skater games on the PlayStation. I didn't have those. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, 3, I didn't play any of those. The first Tony Hawk game that I personally ever played, I personally ever owned, was this one. And I really, really liked this one, to be honest. It had a lot of great things going for it. It had this really cool kick flip mechanic with the joysticks when you're in the air. Like it slowed down time, and you could kick the joysticks depending on how you, or kick the board depending on how you move the joystick. So that was pretty cool. It felt fun. I do remember having a lot of fun with it, but apparently, as a friend of mine said, this was the start of the decline of the Tony Hawk series. So I'm really glad that I got to play it when it was at the peak of its, you know, greatness. I also have not played these games. I own all 3 of the series, original series on the PlayStation 2. I just never really got around to actually doing anything with it. I might give it a try at some point, and then I actually am thinking about playing through the entire series, but I do have to actually get the other games first. So there's Devil May Cry 1. I have here Devil May Cry 2. I believe this one was a 2-disc game. Yes, it sure looks like it. Let me see here. Yeah, there was disc 1, which is this guy right here, and then disc 2, which is this purple one here. I don't know anything about the Devil May Cry series, so like I said, I might want to give it a try at some point. I'm definitely interested in the series, but I don't know anything about it. So, you know, if anybody out there knows anything about Devil May Cry, the series on PlayStation 2, let me know if it's worth it. And finally, here's Devil May Cry 3. This is the only one with a subtitle. This one's Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening. Whereas the other ones are just Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 2. I really, really like that they're full color discs though. You don't really see a lot of that type of art on game discs anymore, which is super unfortunate. They had some really cool stuff going on the discs back in the day, so I'd like to see a return of that also. Next up, I have Gran Turismo 4, another simulation game. I still think Pro Street might be better. But you know, I didn't play a whole lot of Gran Turismo, so I'm not 100% sure on that either. Next, I have Manhunt, which is a great Rockstar title. One of the better ones outside of Grand Theft Auto, in my opinion. Super brutal. It was rated M. I think they changed it to AO after a while. But I really like this game. I played the entirety of Manhunt 2 on my PSP. I would like to play the PlayStation version. PlayStation 2 version of Manhunt 2. I do have the first Manhunt here. I never actually played through it. I also bought it on Steam, but apparently it's so old and outdated that my computer won't run it completely. It'll like glitch at a certain point and you can't progress past it, and it's like the first 10 minutes of the game, so that's super unfortunate. But I do have it here. I do plan on playing it at some point. Maybe I'll even do a video on it in the future. I'm not 100% sure just yet, but I'll decide on that in the upcoming couple of days. And then lastly, I have NFL Street. This is definitely one of the better street games out there. NBA Street, FIFA Street, those are all great too, but I think NFL Street was definitely where they hit their stride. I think having football in the street form with all the tricks and the flashy moves and all that was a great idea. This was back when EA used to have their Big series, which is what Def Jam Vendetta is also a part of. I never really understood what EA Big was, but they put out a lot of fun games, so I'm not gonna complain about that at all. I would like to see a return of the Street series at some point, but the way things are looking, that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. So it actually turns out that I have more games hidden away. I have a CD case here with a bunch of different games inside. No case, of course, but turns out that I own the sequel to Socom. So Socom 2, US Navy SEALs, I do have the sequel to that. This game was really fun too. It had a lot of the same elements of the first game, but just better in almost every way. Graphics were better, mechanics were better, missions were better, and then the world and the way you traverse it was a lot better as well. It was a lot more interesting to look at in the second version of Socom. I'm not 100% sure what this is. It might be a DVD player update disc. It says DVD player version 2.10. So that might be what that is. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but it looks like an update disc. I don't know where this came from. I don't know why I have it, but you know, it's got the classic PlayStation blue on the back. Like I said, I don't know why I own this. I don't even know what it is. I'll have to research this and figure out what it does. I'll post an end card if I figure anything out. I didn't realize I had this, but I have NBA Live 2002. And if you know anything about me, I fucking hate actual sports simulation games. I don't know why I have this. I might want to play this just for the fucking lulz at some point, but I hate these types of games. Madden, 2K, all those games, I don't like them. I don't know why I own this. I wonder if somebody like gave it to me and I just never had another second thought about it. I don't know. And that's my PS2 collection from what I have here. There's obviously more games out in the world that I have. They're not all here, but that's what I have currently in my collection here in my apartment. PlayStation 2, very, very near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite systems of all time. Obviously, I have a lot of games for it. If you have a favorite PlayStation 2 title, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think about my current collection. If you think there's anything I can do to improve it, or if there's any games that you think I need to have, let me know, because I collect and I will definitely take your thoughts into consideration when I'm going out to purchase any more of PlayStation 2 titles, or any titles really. But for the near future, this is what I'm going to stick with. I'll also have a video on the rest of my consoles. I got the 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3. I don't have a lot of Nintendo titles, so I might group all of those into one video. But I do have like Wii, GameCube. We just got a Wii U, and I have one Wii U game, I think, hiding somewhere. Yep, right here. So I have one. So I'll group all of those games into one video. That should be interesting. But that's basically it. I'll see you guys soon with a new video. I'm not sure what it's going to be as of yet. But stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.